All right, time now for All Things Gators, All Things Orange and Blue. Dan Hicken and Frank Frangie. What's up, Hick?
Doing great, Frank. Thanks for doing this. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, the best of the business, se-ortho.com for all your orthopedic needs, be it knees, ankles, elbows, necks, backs, whatever. They will take care of you. Trust me, I'm not just endorsing them. I'm a client. Frank, we wanted to wait on this one because we want to talk a little recruiting, a little after the fact. So let's just start with that and get your initial thoughts about Billy Napier and what he was able to accomplish in his 59 days as the head man of the Florida Gators.
Yeah, I think he did a great job. They were 70th or wherever they were. And then based on what you watched, they were anywhere from 16th or 19th, 30-something in ESPN. But no, I think he did great work. More than just this class. And obviously getting Kamari Wilson, who's a 5-star out of IMG, is the signature of this class. That wasn't a new one. Yeah, we missed a few down the stretch. Harold Perkins didn't come. Jacoby Matthews didn't come. I know that. They thought Trevante Citizen, who went to Miami, was probably going to come, and he didn't. So that was probably the surprising one down the stretch. But I think overall he laid the groundwork, Dan, for this to be a great recruiting school. I think with the new facility, all the big staff, despite where they finished this year, and I would like to have had a couple of those down the stretch, I think Florida is once again the party to go to. It's been Alabama and Ohio State and Georgia. So big picture for me, we would have liked a few of those down the stretch. I think there's still some more coming and going between the portal and whatnot. But I'm okay with where he is. I got high hopes for the way they're going to recruit moving forward. How about you?
I would agree, especially with the latter statement, high hopes. And listen, I'm just excited as a somewhat recruit, Nick, not probably like I used to be, to see a guy with a real plan, you know, and the way he's come in and the way he's executing his plan and the staff members that he's bringing in. Now he's got a little bit of timing because he's going to have that facility to show off. He's also, you know, but he's also taking care of some things. He's changed their living quarters. He's done everything that he can possibly do so far. And I was amazed at the disappointment. And I guess that's a good thing that we were disappointed that we didn't get this kid or that kid. I mean, the fact that he got in on those guys is tremendous. The fact that he knows talent is tremendous. And we know he knows talent, judging by the kids he's had at Louisiana who are going to be playing in the NFL, which is another positive. I'm very excited about the future of Florida Gator football and where they're headed, especially on the recruit. And he also seems like, Frank, and I'll ask you your opinion, and I don't know him yet, right? But he seems like a guy who likes the recruiting game, who's into the recruiting game. And that's a huge positive. We can't stress enough how important recruiting is. Again, Georgia is in the top 3 for the last 6 years. They're raising a banner. Okay, that's what it takes. That's what it takes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think it is what it takes. And I think he does like it. You know, it's interesting now. He stripped it bare bones because he's a big relationship guy.
Right.
So he said goodbye to Nick Evers and Isaiah Bond and a handful of good players. And for that reason, Florida had fewer players in the ESPN 300 than they've ever had, which means that by the ESPN metric, it's a low-graded class, the last one in the SEC. But that's okay. I think it's because, you know, another coach could have come in there and battled like crazy to keep Evers and battled like crazy to keep Bond and battled like crazy to keep 2 or 3 other guys that left. Humphreys, the kid that went to Georgia. Mm-hmm. He could have battled and fought to do that. But I don't think that's who he is. I think he's a sincere, genuine guy that really believes relationships matter. And until you know me, you shouldn't feel obligated to stay committed to me. And so by stripping it bare the way he did, the class might not have, from a stars standpoint, shown up as much as if you kind of piece together both. But I think that there's a realness to that. I think it's visceral, and I think he's a good person. And I think the recruits he did get and will will have realistic relationships with him and that staff and so I was unnerved a little bit when some of those guys decommitted and he replaced some of them. Right. But I am encouraged by where I think they're going to go.
Along those lines too, Frank, he was in battle for kids from Louisiana, which tells me about relationships that he developed over there.
Correct.
And ultimately, it's tough to get kids there. He only signed, I think, 6 from Florida total, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
But I'm not positive on that. But he admitted that will change. He knows that will change. Yeah. He knows where his bread is going to be buttered. He's gotten into IMG, which we haven't been able to do. Listen, I think he understands the state. I know a coach down at Fort Myers. They got a great running back for 23, and Billy Napier is right behind Kirby Smart. I mean, so he knows where to go. He knows who to go to. I think he's going to have a lot of success. But guess what? It's going to be harder, too, because there's a guy in South Florida who's pretty good at it, too, and Mario Cristobal. So let's not keep our head in the sand here. I mean, Mario Cristobal lured kids from all over the country to Oregon. So, and it's changing, too. I don't really know why Jimbo Fisher was so pissed off about.
Oh, he was mad.
Oh, Jimbo. I mean, you should embrace that. You should embrace it. Hey, we figured it out. We're ahead of the game. I got a great class. That was a historical class. That didn't make as much sense to me, but I guess he took it more as, we're not paying. Say we're paying players. You can pay players now, Jimbo. Have at it.
Yeah, here's why he was so ticked off. He was the guy that always loses the Saturday golf match to his buddy.
Yeah.
And after losing 8 times in a row, he finally won.
Yeah.
And then the buddy said he cheated. That's what it was. And he said, "I finally beat you." You got to say that. That's what he was all ticked off about.
You're right.
But I do like where I think Florida's going to. And you're right. Recruiting's a different game now.
Yeah.
What I'm really interested in is a very few of the top Florida kids stayed in Florida. Handful to Florida, handful to Miami and FSU, one to UCF, but a very 15 of the top 50 or something like that stayed in the state because recruiting's more national than it's ever been.
Right.
It used to be very regional. I mean, college basketball's been national.
Right.
But now football's become national too. So and NIL only adds to that. But we'll see. I think at the end of the day, he's going to do very well in the state of Florida. He's going to be a tireless recruiter. And stars matter. You need to get those 4s and those 5s. Having said that, at least one more year without a lot of the 4s and the 5s, I do think there's a handful of kids. We always look for the sleepers in this class. I think the kid from Jacksonville Bowls, Jack Pyburn, looks like a terror to me.
He's a maniac. Yeah,
he's a 6'4", 260 that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He went from having to go to Minnesota to all of a sudden Auburn and Miami and Florida offered. Mm-hmm. And I get this hunch, if there'd have been one more month until signing day, it'd have been Alabama, LSU, and Georgia in that mix too. So I like him. Max Brown's the quarterback that people didn't know about, was going to go play for McElwain. You watch his tape now, he looks an awful lot like Nick Evers to me, the big, tall tight end. So I think there's guys, and look, anytime you don't get the 4s and the 5s, you want to point out how the 3s are sleepers. I know that. But I think with some of these guys, Dan, there's some truth to that. I really do.
Yeah, and I agree, by the way. And we're not going to sit here and hype up these guys. You'll get to know them, but we were able to watch Jack Pyburn, from Jacksonville, a great deal, know the stories. And listen, this is a kid who's dedicated to one thing, and that's being the very best football player they can. He gets up at 3:45 every morning and goes right to the gym, and he's a workout fiend. So I would say sit back and watch. I think you're onto something. But again, to the fan, they want those 4s and those 5s. And I get it. We all do. That's, the more 4s and 5s you get, the more you win. I mean, that's just, those numbers that's science, quite frankly. So it'll be interesting to see, but I'm very excited. This class did not deter me whatsoever from Billy Napier at all.
Yeah. And I totally agree. And I'm excited about all the next steps. Yeah. I think there's going to be more attrition. I think there's going to be more addition. Yeah. I think the roster is going to look different, even when spring practice starts, than it does right now. And I'm excited about spring. I want to see what his football coaching looks like. I like the fact, big news, we got a spring game again.
Yeah.
I hadn't had one in 2 years. April 16th, a spring game. I'm going to go to the spring game. I'm very excited about where all of that part of it's all headed, Dan. I think it feels robust and healthy again, doesn't it? I guess that's probably the feeling I have about all of it.
Yeah. I had heard you on your radio program talk about the Gators game against Missouri as being the most important game of the season. And I didn't disagree. If they lost that game, they were not going to the tournament.
Correct.
And it did not look good. But Frank, those gritty, gutty Gators under Mike White, they just find ways, don't they? They found a way against Oklahoma State since we last talked, Frank. Yeah, they found a way to hit free throws one after the other, and were able to knock off Missouri despite the adversity of a 3:00 tip and weather and travel. And Frank, it's time to give them credit. but then they'll turn around and lose to Ole Miss this weekend. No, Frank, no.
Well, first of all, the key thing with that Missouri, they had to overcome a big crowd of about 38. Okay. I don't think they got to 50.
Boisterous.
I don't think there were 50 people in the gym.
They were loud.
But my point was, look, if they'd have lost that game, they're 3-6 in the league. They weren't getting the 9 wins.
Yeah.
So they had to win that game somehow. Yeah. Hey, now if you can beat Ole Miss and Georgia back-to-back home games against teams you should beat, no matter what happened when we played Ole Miss last time, if you have back-to-back home games against teams you should beat, then you can look up and you're 16-8 overall. You're 6-5 in the league. You can breathe a little bit, but Dan, they got to win those next two.
Do you think they will? Because I'm not sure. Ole Miss. I watched Ole Miss against LSU. Ole Miss is playing better, and they got some size, and size is tough for Florida.
Yeah, I do think they will.
Okay,
but yeah, you're right. Neither one. There's no automatics for
no
this
slam dunks, are there?
No, and look, I'm starting to think now they may not have Castleton. You know. If he's been gone this long, they're not talking about what the injury is. If it's this long, it's a labrum. Okay, he didn't jam his shoulder and miss a month. Okay, so it's probably a labrum. I don't know if it's a torn labrum, and again, I don't have any insight on it. I'm just telling you, common sense says if he's out this long and it's a shoulder, he's probably hurt his labrum. Jatobo's gone for the year. I heard that was a very bad eye injury, very scary, very bad, and the surgery repaired it. But it was scary stuff. And with Castleton, I'm now starting to think they're not going to have him. And if they don't have him, even though Gottkeck, I thought, played very well, the big block at the end of the game, but then they're really going to have to scrap, man. And so they're a borderline tournament team at best without him. And Dan, do you get the sense that and I don't have any insight, but don't you get the sense they may not have him now? Yeah,
I would agree. I'm not sure they would. If he doesn't come back next week, I can't imagine he's coming back. And when you watch him, like he sometimes wants to lift to get the crowd into it, and you see him just, hey, I may not lift that one. Well, if he's not even lifting this thing up yet, you can't help but wonder. I would tend to agree with you. I would tend to agree. And listen, he's a guy who came back to improve his stock and wants to chase the association. So I don't know. It's going to be dicey the rest of the way. It's not, I don't think they are near good enough to beat a Kentucky. They don't match up well with them. And there's two there. And Auburn, even at home, I don't feel like they can beat Auburn. So those 3 games alone are going to be extremely difficult.
And if they lose all 3 of those games, which I think they will too,
they have to win all the other ones.
They all but one. If they lose, they have 5 losses now.
Yeah.
If you count on 2 losses in the league, if you count on 2 losses to Kentucky and 1 to Auburn, that's 8. They can only lose 9 and make the field. Yeah. So that's why those games, and they got to go to Texas A&M.
Oh yeah.
And they play a good Arkansas team who's playing well.
Right.
So so that's why Ole Miss and Georgia, they have to win those games.
I would agree.
Just like they had to beat win the Missouri game. Let me ask you now.
Yes, sir.
Let's assume they missed the field, Dan. Mike White has still won a tournament game each of the last 4 years, each of the last 4 tournaments. He's the only coach in the league that's done that. But why do I sense that he might be on some sort of a hot seat, whether you and I want him to be or not, if they don't get in? I think Scott Strickland really likes him. I don't think Scott Strickland wants – I know he likes him. I don't think Scott wants to make a move there. But do you wonder if a move's in the offing or no?
I don't, but I don't. I don't think so. I don't think Scott Strickland operates that way. I think he understands what the challenges are for Florida basketball. I understand he knows the fans. I agree with you about the flipping the look, getting the rowdies on the other side, those types of things.
Got to do that.
There's okay to take a good hard look at the program. I think he has the 16th or 17th ranked recruiting class coming in next year. You lose both your big men. A lot of adversity for this basketball team again, but I do get exhausted over arguing this all the time. And so I wonder if that has permeated the Gator people yet. I don't know if it has, but I personally, in dealing with the fans, it wears me out. It wears me thin in battling with Mike White. I've seen other great coaches have bad years. And I understand that people get, they want runs and they want to be in the tournament and they want to get to the Sweet 16 and battle for the Elite 8 and things of that nature. But I like what he's done. He's only I think Billy, does this sound about right? I think Billy is 70% and Mike White's like 66% of winning games.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
I will say this, of the 17 coaches they have had at the University of Florida, he's the second most successful one.
No question.
So I'm like you.
Yeah.
I like Mike White, and I hope he doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But I will also say that, and I hope, and there's no gray area for me. But I also would like to see the program show a little growth now.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get it. Now, they got some good recruits coming in.
Right.
Let's go and have a couple of those Sweet 16 or Elite 8 years, just so you've shown a little growth. And I understand the frustration they have in that. But
I get it.
Speaking of hoops,
Frank.
How about 84-59 over the Lady Vols? What about that?
That's Florida's 5th win over Tennessee since 1980.
Since 1980. I was in college in 1980.
1980, Frank.
Okay,
by the way, we lost that first one in 80. I think it was 118-44, Frank.
Right. I mean, I will tell you this, Kelly Ray Finley, what a job she's done with that team. Yeah.
I don't know who she is. You know her. I don't know why we ain't hired her yet. And honestly, I get the whole, I don't want to overreact. Remember Galen Hall? We don't want to overreact. This is women's basketball where we've never done anything. She has steered us to wins over LSU, Georgia, and Tennessee now.
Yeah, and I told you this, the little bit of time I spent with her, 15 minutes in a gym just talking ball, what a charismatic personality. I can certainly see why, and I haven't watched their games, so I don't know the basketball part of it. I haven't. I'd be lying if I said I had. What I do know is they play for her, man. Yeah. And that matters.
They have a really talented guard, Kiara Smith. Is that her name? I believe she went for 25 against Tennessee last night. So Kiki, they call her, Frank. Kiki.
So I'm excited, man. I'm excited about what the good for them. It's been that's the one sport they couldn't get figured out.
Nope.
You know, when Carol Ross was there, they were pretty good. And that was a long time ago. Delisha Milton, remember that? That was like in the 90s. And they haven't been good since, man. And
Frank, go ahead.
Give them credit.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to mention, because I'm hard on Gator fan a lot of the times about in terms of attendance. I think I read that there were 9,000 plus at the gymnastics meet last weekend. So shout out.
Go to that. They go to that.
Yeah.
The gymnastics following there is very good. And I agree with you. Good for them. So, hey, things are looking up. We got a spring game. I love spring games. We got some baseball preseason All-Americans. We just put 84-59 on the Lady Vols.
Thank you, Frank. You're cheering me up.
I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good place. Isn't that what they say? Place?
Yeah.
I'm in a good place here with the Gators.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, Frank. And well said. We'll get you next week, right?
All right, Hick. Yep. That's all things Gators, all things orange and blue. Dan Hick and Frank Frangie.
And thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, the very best in the business. Look, if you have any orthopedic needs, se-ortho.com. Frank, peace.
See you, Hick.